Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm the Resource Recovery Education Officer at the Hillshire Council, and welcome to the So Easy video series brought to you by the Resource Recovery team.
Hi, I'm Bex from Second Life Upcycling, and I teach sewing classes, clothes upcycling, and sustainability workshops.
So the goal of this series is to support sustainable habits by giving you the skills and the confidence to fix and alter your own clothes instead of sending them to landfill. So let's get started.
So in this video, I'm going to turn a pair of pants into a pair of shorts. So the reason why you might do that is several reasons. You might have a pair of pants that are just too short, too long, or maybe you just need another pair of shorts. You've got enough pair of pants, or you've got a pair of old pants that you're not wearing any longer. These were work pants. I turned these into a pair of shorts. Gorgeous tailored pair of shorts, really easy to do. So all you're going to need for this project is scissors. I use a transparent school ruler, a flexible measuring tape, some tailor's chalk, which we'll use to mark our new lines for the shorts. I'm going to use a sewing machine to do the new hem of these shorts, but you could use some invisible hemming tape. And if you're not sure how to use invisible hemming tape, we did a video on this previously, so go back and check that out. So let's get started. So I've got the pants here laid out on the table. I've turned them inside out. These are really good cotton pants, and they're going to be easy to sew. So if you're a beginner to this process, I would recommend starting with a nice cotton fabric, a nice natural cotton or linen. It's going to make this process easier. So because I don't have a model here, and therefore a friend, I'm taking these, turning these pants into shorts. She's given me a pair of shorts that she likes. So typically if you're doing this for yourself, you could use a pair of shorts that you already have and that you like the style and the length and the fit of, and use those as your template and as a guide. Or you can just do it straight there on your body. If you're doing it for a friend, I would have the friend wear the pants, and then I would measure on the body and then ask them to bring along a pair of shorts just as a backup as well. So what I'm going to do, importantly here, I'm going to line up the waistband at the top, because typically these shorts and these pants, they're the same kind of style at the top. So I know that the waist is going to fit at the same part on my friend. And just to keep it in place, I'm using my little clips. These are really handy little clips. You could use bulldog clips, you could use pegs, you could even pin, just to keep it here. So when I'm moving it around, I'm not going to lose that waistband there. So the next thing I'm going to do is just roughly using my transparent school ruler and my tailor's chalk is I'm just going to make some marks of where these shorts are. But I'm going to double check this because I'm not going to be careless and just cut away. These are just a guide. And so this is where the shorts would end when they're hemmed. So what we need to consider here is seam allowance. And I'm going to do a double seam a double hem so that they don't fray. So now what I'm going to do is, if I've got enough ruler, which I do, is I'm going to measure from the bottom to this mark here. So I've got 27 centimeters here. I'm just going to check. I've come up a little bit because fabric is fluid, so fabric moves. So it's not like it's just there like a piece of cardboard. So we have to use measuring guides to make sure that we're doing the right kind of measurement. So I've come up 27 centimeters, and now I'm doing a darker line there. I'm going to do the same on this side. And I'm going to come up the same 27 centimeters because that's going to make sure, and you can see here, my mark is really different from when I had the shorts on the top there. So that's why this is a backup to give us a guide. So 27 centimeters, And then I'm going to mark a new rule. And I'm going to do the same on the back. So that's actually where the end of the shorts are going to end, the bottom seam based on those shorts that I used as my guide. But now I've got to add seam allowance so that I can add a bottom hem to these. So just how I do it, this is just to make my life easier. Because I use this ruler a lot, I just use this as my guide, and that will allow me to do a double turnover hem. You might have to measure. You might measure, that's 4 centimeters. So that will allow me to do 2 centimeters and then double it again to do a double hem. And then I'm going to do this again. And that's where I'm going to cut. So I'm not going to cut where I want the shorts to end. I'm going to cut where I've created my seam allowance. A mistake that some people make is that they'll go like this and cut both the bottom and the top fabric together. I think that's a bit of a mistake because fabric being fluid, it will move around. So you might not actually be following that mark that we made. So I do one little cut just so I can get my scissors in. And then I've got the scissors in between the fabric and I'm just cutting one layer at a time. Then I'm going to turn around and then my lines match up, which is perfect. And then I'm going to cut all the way around. And then you've even got a bit of fabric at the end, which you could turn into something else because it's really nice, lovely cotton. So I will save that and that will go into my fabric stash and I will use it for another project. So again, I'm just cutting this off. Then after I've cut this off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin and turn up this bottom hem and I'm going to press it before I sew it. And the reason why I'm going to press it with the iron is that that's going to give me a really nice line to sew. It's going to hold it in place and it's going to make my job so much easier when it comes to sewing these on the sewing machine. Now, quick tip is, like I said before, you could use iron-on hemming tape to do this hem. So what you would do is turn it over once and then twice and then insert your iron-on hemming tape, depending on what type you get, to hold this hem up. But because I've got the sewing machine, I'm going to sew it on the sewing machine, which will give me a better, more long-lasting hem there. So I'm going to go away now and I'm going to pin and press this and then come back and get ready to sew it. So now I've got the ironing board set up, the iron is on, and with my chalk line, my blue line, I'm going to turn the edge, the bottom of the shorts over to that blue line. Then I'm going to give them a quick press just to hold that line. I'll move it over and I'll do the same on the other side. So we're not going to just do it in one go. Flip it over and do both sides. Just double check that in that new press line there, that you should see that blue chalk line. And that's all fine. I'll do that on the other side as well. So again, just folding it over so that the fold is at that chalk line. Give it a little bit of a press to hold it in place. And this is another reason why it's so good using a lovely cotton that's easy to sew, because also really easy to press. Yep, that's in place there. Now I've got my stainless steel dressmaker pins, and without the ball on the end, so it's just got that little metal head at the end. And then I'm going to then turn over that top edge so that then I'm doing a double hem here. So that's why it's also really good to press, because it allows me to fold that over, that raw edge under. We're actually folding the raw edge under, and that's going to be encased in this new hem. And the reason why I'm using metal pins here is that it means once I've finished doing this, I can then press this hem down. and those metal pins aren't going to melt. They're going to be perfect in place there, and they're not going to melt onto the fabric. So I'll just do one leg finish off this leg. So that's all the raw edges encased in there. I'm going to give it all a press. And by pressing this, it's going to make it so much easier for me to sew it. So I've got my sewing machine set up. I've chosen a beige coloured cotton and bobbin because this is a little bit of an off-white colour. So I want this, the sewing of this seam to blend in. I don't want it to stand out. You could use a contrasting colour if you wanted to pop there, but I'm going to select a complementary colour. Now, to make sure that I've got a straight and consistent line here, I'm going to work out where I want my seam, and I want it to be there near the top because I want to catch in all of that fabric. I'm going to use some masking tape just to mark on my machine where I want to line up that bottom edge of my new leg seam. So then I'm just going to follow that. Now I'm going to start at the side seam. I'm not starting at the front of the shorts or the back of the shorts, particularly the front of the shorts, because when you start sewing and you start doing a hem or a seam, I'm going to backstitch. So there's going to be a little bit of extra cotton there. I don't want that to be visible. So that's why I'm starting at the side. So I'm just going to do a few stitches and then do some back stitching. Again, I've got pins in this, but because I pressed it before, it's going to pretty much stay in place, which is going to make this job really easy. And again, great cotton fabric, so super easy to sew. My sewing machine is going to love it, and I'm going to love it as well. So I've come to the end, so now I'm just going to backstitch to finish it off, pull out the thread, cut off my excess, and it's done. That's the simplicity. One leg down, another leg to go. So here they are finished. I've pressed them, and just a word of advice. After sewing a new seam or a new hem, it is a good idea to press them because it sets in the cotton and it sets in that seam. So they're beautifully pressed now, all done. And now an unused pair of pants have been transformed into a beautiful, casual, comfortable pair of shorts. Thanks for watching. We hope that this video has inspired you to revisit your wardrobe and give your garments a second life.
If you want to find out more about what Counsellor is doing in regards to textiles and clothing, check out Counselor's website or the link below.
And wasn't that so easy?